One of the real challenges on Kiss Me First was the world of live action and animation coming together. We'd been recommended to Mel, one of the executive producers. I went down to London to have a meeting with her to try and get my head around what the project was. And it was a really interesting meeting. They obviously were looking for an animation studio who could bring something different and really collaborate with them in the creation of Kiss Me First. And because we had a long track record of working with the video games industry, that played to our strengths in terms of the general premise of the show being a virtual world.
Stop skulking around. I'm not scared of you. Get up!
Once the project started to move from pre-production into production, then we started to shift the focus of the team from our London studio to our Glasgow studio, and then at a certain point to our Bristol studio as well. So it was a great collaboration across all three sites working on the show. We'd previously been talking to Khan about other projects, and he seemed like a really potentially good fit because of his art direction and concept art background. And what was great was when we came to introducing him for the first time to Brian and Mel, he'd already gone off and had, you know, a whole ton of ideas. He'd pulled together loads of visual material.
Khan just got it, you know, when we were talking about what to use for a vertical slice. You know, he did this amazing concept, and all he wanted for that one, you know, 10-second shot is a character close up saying Do Vidzinia. And it was so, you know, it was just Adrian.
Do Vidzinia. I kind of leaned on the early 20th century illustrators like J.C. Leyendecker, Norman Rockwell, and guys like that who had this wonderful sense of stylization without kind of making things look cartoony. And they used kind of angularity in certain places of the face to describe or enhance the face, and then smooth it out on the other.
I think bringing the characters to life was probably the biggest challenge of the whole show. It took a long time to get the character design nailed in 2D, but then translating it into 3D. For some characters it worked brilliantly, like Calamity just worked. Tippy, we probably spent the most time on that character. What works in a 2D drawing just did not translate to 3D, and it's very, very difficult to get it working.
Big difference with animation is there's a lot of pre-planning, there's a lot of design process, and it takes a very long time to see anything that looks close to finished.
Coming from that TV background, which the client came from, they were so used to having all this coverage and then editing it down to what they wanted. And in animation, it's kind of like the edit happens in reverse, because you don't want to make, you know, footage that you're not going to use because that's very expensive. I think that was a kind of big learning curve for everyone, getting those two worlds to come together and, you know, kind of work together.
How are you feeling?
Fuck you.
But you're upset.
The Black Room specifically was a little bit more tricky than the other sequences because we had Layla Tallulah there as her live-action character, and we had to figure out a way how to interpret or incorporate the CG Adrian in with her and get the two to interact. So we had to kind of figure out a way to shoot it so that we would be able to afterwards take that information and edit it the way we needed it in case we needed to change it and stuff.
Interestingly, they had to do that work before they had shot the live action, so that was the first time they were working together, which was quite unusual for them as actors, to be doing that wearing lycra and markers and head-mounted cameras and things like that. But I think it really comes through that, you know, you can see that performance carrying through from the live action into the virtual world and back again.
I'm here.
It's an innovative show. I've not really seen anything like it on television. So it's an exciting time in TV across the board, live action, animation, all types of content. So it's exciting to be part of that and continue to look at other opportunities that are similar.